Ready to soundtrack your summer? With Red Bull Summer All Day Play, you choose a playlist that fits your summer vibe the best. Are you a festival fanatic, a deep-end DJ, a road dog, or a trail mixer? Just add a song to your chosen playlist and put your summer on track. Red Bull Summer All Day Play. Red Bull gives you wings. Visit redbull.com/brightsummer ahead to learn more. See you this summer.
Make every get-together chill. This Memorial Day, get up to an extra $1,000 off select top brand appliances like LG. Plus, get free delivery at the Home Depot. Tackle pool towels and camp laundry with a large capacity washer. And host in style with the fridge serving craft ice, mini craft ice, cubed ice, and crushed ice. Shop appliance savings now through June 3rd at the Home Depot. Offer valid May 14th through June 3rd. U.S. only. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $998 or more. See store online for details.
You can't reason with the sun. Trust us, we've tried. This summer, it's time to put that angry ball of fire on mute. Columbia's Omni-Shade technology is engineered to protect you from the sun's harsh rays that can burn and damage your skin. The sun is relentless, but so is our gear. Level up your summer at Columbia.com to spend more time outside and less time slathering on aloe lotion. You're welcome. Columbia, engineered for whatever.
Hello, I'm Matt, and I am from ERB Radio and ERB Magazine. You are listening to The Hook Rocks with Jay Scott. We very much appreciate him. He is a star. Make sure you order a copy of ERB Magazine. Bye for now.
Ain't no need in filling up that suitcase. Just throw in things that you're gonna use. We'll be pulling out of here at daybreak, and we ain't got nothing to lose. Take this time we had to call your mama. Help her understand this is what you gotta do. This old town can break you and it's gonna. And we ain't got nothing to lose. Let's fly like we know where we're going. Close our eyes like we don't have to choose. With you by my side, we'll get there. Just know that we ain't got nothing to lose. We ain't got nothing. Tears of sorrow.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to The Hook Rocks. I'm your host, Jay Scott. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for making time for me and the guests that I have and the shows that we have on this platform. Thanks again for tuning in. Happy New Year to everybody. It's 2022. Hopefully it is better than 2021 and 2020 before that. So let's look ahead. Let's be positive. Once again, we are part of the Pantheon Podcast Network, a great network of music-related podcasts. You can find anything music-related on Pantheon, including my friends Tom and Zeus from Shout Out Loudcast, Vinny Appice and Carmen Apice on the Hangin' and Bangin' podcast, Martin Popoff, the great rock historian, and Mistress Carrie out in Boston. She's got her own show. She's been in the radio business for a long time, and she's got a great podcast as well. You can follow Pantheon on Twitter at Pantheon Pods and also at PantheonPodcast.com. You can also follow The Hook Rocks wherever you do podcasts. We're on every platform, as well as Twitter at The Hook Rocks and Facebook, The Hook Rocks. Look forward to another great year. Thanks for a great year last year. As we continue on into January, we've got our second episode of Conversations and Collaborations, bringing together new music, new artists, new bands together on one show. Our first show featured Tyler Baker from Goodbye June with John Nato from Dirty Honey. And our guest for this episode today is Jennifer Lauren from the band Diamonds and Whiskey, and Travis McCready, the great artist from Mississippi, formerly of Bishop Gunn. What's going on? How's everybody doing?
Going good, man. How are you?
Excellent. Happy to do this episode with both of you. Big fans of both your music. As you know, I've had you guys on previously, and I figured this would be a great setup with you two doing what we did with John and Tyler on the previous episode, kind of for both fan bases to kind of get to know different fan bases and different music and kind of, cross over into other people's fandom. So thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having us.
How's everybody's New Year going?
Mine's good so far. A little bit of the COVID going on, but recovered from that, and so I think I'm ready to go out after today. So I'm just going to start my new year tomorrow.
Going good for me so far. Can't really tell the difference from 2021 yet, but we'll see.
You had some gigs recently, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
Did you do some stuff in December? How'd those go?
I did. A couple in Tennessee. They were great. New Year's one was a lot of fun. Those are always a lot of fun. It's like people that they just go a little harder on that night. It's always a night where people that aren't usually out as much as others. So you get like new folks and get to meet new people and play for new people. And you see them again maybe like the next year when they come back out. Get really, really hammered all over again.
What was it like for you having a band on these shows? I know you've been doing a lot of acoustic shows and solo stuff, but since Bishop Gunn disbanded, this was kind of the first shows that you did with some other musicians.
It's been, maybe less than 10 shows, but I have had some other musicians here and there. I've been playing with two guys from Huntsville since I guess August, and mostly the bass player because the guitar player he had some other gigs he was committed to, but he was finishing up to free up to play with. He's going to play with me more often, and so I played a lot with just me, the bass player, and a drummer in the last since August. And my drummer, Jody Stallone, he's been with me about half the shows I've played since May 2020. So we would two-piece it. I would do it by myself. It was just kind of a weird thing about everything was open, closed. I didn't really try to lead or insinuate you could lead a band or anyone through the last couple of years, with it not really being in anybody's hands. So, yes, we just did what we could and had a good time. And now I have three musicians playing behind me as of now. And I call them just the entity of the musicians with me, the band behind me, the Tramp. So it's Travis McCready and the Tramp, plural. Singular. Sorry.
There you go. How about you, Jen? I know you finished up 2021 with the single "Walk Hard." It got a really good response. What was your year end like, and what's going to be going on in the new year for you?
Well, 2021 was pretty big for us. Our tour went through finally after COVID. So we ping ponged across the country all summer. I think every weekend we were in different states. It was crazy. I counted it. I was on like 47 different flights over the summer. It was nuts. But yeah, it was an incredible year for us, and we grew leaps and bounds. But yeah, Walk Hard is still going strong. We're getting ready to release the video for it. And then we're releasing One Shot Betty, which is the next single off the record. And then it looks like maybe the end of February, we're going to release the whole record, Blonde Ambition, which I've worked really hard on this past year. And I'm really proud of it. And then March, we leave for tour. We leave for Florida and then come back to the Carolinas and then head to North Dakota for 10 dates with David Lee Murphy. And Yeah, our summer's already pretty booked up. I'm excited opening for Travis Tritt, Wade Jennings. Actually, there's a long list of big acts we're opening for, but I can't release that yet. So, but I'm really excited. It's 2022. If everything goes right, it's going to be huge for us. So yeah, this year is starting out, looking up. Anyway, but it's been looking up for us. I try to find the silver lining in everything, even the whole COVID thing. And COVID allowed me to stop touring and do a record, which was great, and do it cheaper because everybody was looking for work at the time. So I try to find the good in everything, and yeah, so we're ready to really launch that this year and play a bunch of gigs and get on the road.
How about in terms of the album? One of the common themes that I've talked about with a lot of artists, new bands, and is how long they've sat on something, right? Because they were waiting for the right time to release it. It was, if they couldn't, some people felt that they couldn't tour behind it. They didn't want to put it out there. Others felt that, hey, if they're, putting something out in front of their fans, they can, get that in front of people. What was your thought process, and how long has this album been ready to go?
Well, it actually, we released the first single last spring, Backcountry Voodoo, and then Walk Hard in the fall. And I had planned to release 3 to 4 singles before the entire full-length record. But because our tour was so crazy this summer, I just could not focus on the promotion of new singles coming out. And we still had Heartbreak Queen. That's my first record that's been doing amazing. And Hero, in fact, is one of our most streamed songs ever and has been streaming like nuts lately. So I was still touring off the, Heartbreak Queen album, and everybody, I feel like people loved it when I put it out, but now that our fan base is so much bigger, everyone's learning about that record right now still. So I didn't really want to sit on this album per se, but I've spent a lot of time and money and had amazing Grammy-winning players come in, and all these people that have been involved in this record. Eddie Z produced it in Charlotte. He's amazing. Kirk Kelsey, who's he did a Creed record. He is the front of house mixer for Keith Urban. He's mixing my record right now. He's finishing the last 2 songs. And so I'm in the final stages of it, but I have taken 1.5 years to do this album and put so much into it because I wanted it to be absolutely incredible. So, and now that it's almost done, I'm just going to throw it out there because I'm so ready for that. Yeah.
And you, Travis, last time we spoke, you have your solo stuff ready to go. I know you put out the Bishop Gunn album. Was it August?
Yeah. So that was a kind of a conglomeration of junction there. So I'd recorded like 9 songs at Fame, where I recorded a couple times before in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and back in March, I believe, of last year. And was kind of setting it up for some fall release, at my leisure. I wasn't, I write songs a lot, so I got a lot of information. So, but there's, and then Gypsy Cadillac was decided to come out, we'd made that record in November 2019, and it was scheduled to come out in the spring, of course, and then, so the next summer it was able to come out. And so I didn't want to rush and just throw too many, just too much information out there. So I kind of was thinking, all right, well, now I have a little bit of space here and I need to evaluate it, and about that time I got up with the guys and the bass player and the guitar player from Huntsville that's been playing with me. And so then I kind of went to, kind of back into the, a little bit of the creative space to where I'm like, all right, well, some of these, maybe I have some EP material, and then what I'm planning to record here in the spring with these musicians I'm playing with. So that's where I'm at, and I'm gonna see if there's like maybe an album with a couple different locations and a couple different feels, you know what I mean? Or possibly split it off into bits. It's kind of hard to, especially with just being solely independent. It's not hard to read. You just pretty much, just want to release some music, whether singles, whether EPs. I don't know if an album's really right now for me. You know, like kind of reintroducing myself, you know, as Travis McCready and not, you know, Bishop Gunn.
How would you describe your sound, Travis? Like, I haven't listened to your stuff, but now I'm going to go and listen to it. But like, how would you describe your original music?
Songs I write, and I have a kind of a wide liking of or different music, you know, a wide scale. So it's a bit genreless, but due to my, you know, I'm from South Mississippi, and I grew up listening to gangster rap and country music, you know, about south of 10 years old. You know, that's kind of the top 40 radio station, and then the 90s country on another, you know, small town. So, and then, you know, really started to mind the rock and roll thing and everything. So yeah, it's kind of like rock and soul. You know, it's like a soul music kind of vocals with an edge, I suppose. It would be the quickest way.
That's cool. I like that. I like it when people can't exactly describe something, like, you know, I can't just say, oh, my music's country or my music's rock, because it's not. I mean, I've got everything from ragtime to, you know, to a rap and to country to straight up rock and roll on my record, because I don't write in one genre. And people ask me, and I can't really describe it. It's just like, I call it swamp rock because I don't really know what to call it. But that's really cool, though. I look forward to hearing it.
Well, it's like, I guess it would be a natural trajectory of, you know, through the evolution of things, especially now with Socrates, Marcani Corsa. He's something. Anyway, being that all the information in one room, as of now, you know, in the last 20 years, you know, with YouTube and Facebook, social media and all, the amount of cohesion, the amount of like cultural just melting pot that the world's kind of been, you know, you're kind of a product of what you've been exposed to, writing kind of even subconsciously or, you know, intuitively, or whether you kind of embrace it and just kind of all the things that are going into your recipe just constantly, you know. So I never really thought about it quite like that until now. But but what you're trying to explain, what I'm trying to explain, you know, is just it's just our surroundings with high speed information and just like connection.
Right.
You know, A, C, D, E, F, G, and 12 semitones, you know. It's like,
yeah.
and a couple things to write songs about, really. I love you. I hate you. I'm struggling. It's a good day. You know, and like the cool part is that the world, like, to hear it affirmed and repeated from different languages, different accents, different outfits, just different regional cultures and everything. So it's just kind of everybody playing ping pong with sharing the feelings. You know, that's a good thing.
It is. It's the connection with people. You know, it's what we do, or what I enjoy the most about what we do now. It's just that somewhere someone relates to your music. You know, there's so many people on the planet, and with the internet and the ability to get out there, it's much easier to connect with people. It's an amazing thing.
I think a lot of people need that connection, especially now. And I think the way people are absorbing music has changed over the last couple of years, because prior to that, I think it was, you know, you point, click, download, and, you know, you have basically come out of thin air. Whereas I think people had to pay attention a little bit more because, you know, they were at home more over the last couple of years. They were kind of pausing their life because of, you know, depending on where they lived, they had to, you know, do different things. And I think having music or any type of art form during that period helped a lot of people. And I think people are finding that connection, that maybe music became too much background. You know, it wasn't, you know, you walk into a department store, you walk in anywhere, music is playing. And I think that lessens the connection that you feel when you are with music, because you hear it.
Needed a violation of rhythmic anticipation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but when you anticipate something and listen to it and connect with something lyrically, that song stays with you. And I think over the last decade, music, the value of music became less. I'd probably even say more than a decade. And I think it's starting to, especially with the younger crowd. I see it with my son, who's going to be 17 in a couple weeks. How him and his friends are connecting with music was much different than it was prior to the pandemic.
It's easy. It's got to be easier too. I mean, just before I tap back into this, what reminded me, I mean, I was like, last I looked at my phone, it was like, because it's 7:00 here now, or a little after, it was like 6:54. And I was on this drum kit back here, just playing, hooked up to my laptop in my little studio setup, playing like through backing tracks off of YouTube, just like drumless tracks, So I'm rocking to that, and then the speaker rocks off of here, and bam, 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 and then I'm like, and I run back, and I'm like, oh shit, well, it's 6:58 anyway, so that's right, good alarm clock. But the ability to do just that, what I was just killing time with right before this is pretty amazing, and I wonder what you also wonder what it like, that necessity or that luxury really does to, say for 30 years ago, when, somebody acquiring that information or even that type of training ground, you know what I mean? Like that the internet can provide and everything, like and you see it all the time, I guess like, on YouTube for years, like some kid, some other countries, like 8 years old, and he's fucking tearing up on a guitar. And
right.
Like, okay, well, let's see if you could do that in a bar with drunk people aggravating you and shit.
That's so true. That is true. They're playing from the comfort of their own home. They're not, having someone yell "Freebird" at them for 2 hours.
Oh my God.
But punk kid,
my son, he plays guitar, and I've had this conversation with him. He was listening to the the rock guitar guys and all that kind of stuff, and all that stuff is great. Like Eddie Van Halen, Jimmy Page, and all that stuff. And I said to him one night, I said, if you're chasing tone, if you're trying to find your own tone, you got to listen to everything. Because the more you put into the stew, right? Mm-hmm. The stew's done cooking, it tastes better, right? Because all that stuff's gone into that, and like 2 days later, I go in his room, and he's got John Lee Hooker CDs and Howlin' Wolf, and I go, that's what it's all about, man. Even if you're not really crazy about something, just keep listening to it, man. Learn it, learn that feel, learn that tone.
You naturally got to emulate it anyway. Like being a singer, like cover, like of course I would play 4 hours of covers, 17, 18, 19, 20, probably like 25, and then sneak a few songs of mine in, because I was always writing, but those different textures of kind of almost a little bit of method acting. When you really love a song, you don't realize you're doing it, because you're kind of going to the texture, and then all those different vocal tones stretched you to different different accents of music, and you're going to be cutting and pasting from that shit anyway. So when you acknowledge like sometimes where especially when writing a song, or if a song's not reminding you of another song when you're writing it, they used to turn me off and make me stop writing a song or something. Like, oh, this is already, if that's not happening, you're not a very good songwriter. It's like because it's only like, so all that, yeah. Tell him to pay attention to pay attention to his attention.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what's going into his recipe, like you said. That's pretty much the Gypsy Cadillac album, the concept of being a kid in a junkyard too dumb to know you couldn't do it until you sat in the car for 30 years and cranks up,
Yeah. I mean, What about you, Jen? Like, where do you find your, when you're presenting, when you're writing a song and you got to, you're working on the presentation of it, where does it come from for you?
So I only write from emotion, which I'm sure a lot of writers are like that. I've never sat down to write a song. Usually I feel something and I just rap it. I rap a lot of my songs first. And then I think I've probably told you that before. Or I have a melody in my mind. And so I sing my songs into my phone a lot because I drive all day. And that's typically where I write. And I don't have like some process or there's no method to it. It's literally what comes out. I don't think I've written a song that I didn't write in 3 to 5 minutes, like from front to back. I don't spend a lot of time dwelling on them like a lot of songwriters do. What comes out is what you get. And the first 10 songs I wrote are on Heartbreak Queen. The second 10 songs I wrote are on Blonde Ambition. And I've already written the next ones for album number 3. And so they're all stories and they all tell stories from my life and things that have happened or stories about people in my life. And so they all just come from emotion. I don't know. I don't really have a process. I think they were all written differently.
Context, action, and result.
Huh?
Said context, action, and result. Beginning, a middle, and an end.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't know. I'm kind of weird, I guess, with writing. It's I've never written a love song either. That's something I'm not good at. So, which I've been pretty unlucky in that it seems in my life. So I don't know a lot about it, but I've written a lot of angry shit. Okay. So but everybody's like, "You're so sweet." I'm like, "Yeah, not on the inside. There's a lot of evil."
Well, it's therapy, right?
Like
I mean, that's what writing is for an artist. It's therapy, right? I mean, you get all that angst, get all that anger and emotion out.
Like
that's uncomfortable.
Alanis Morissette, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would be.
Oh yeah, Jagged Little Pills are my favorite albums all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. The writing on that. God, how old is that album? 20, 25 years old? Around there.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, but it's still. I mean, the lyrics still resonate, though. I mean,
of course,
when you tap into something like that, man, that never goes away. I mean, that stays forever.
Mm-hmm. When we cover, Alanis Morissette or, oh my gosh, even like we cover Cher sometimes just to do something different. I do a lot of different covers. We don't play a lot of covers in our show, but when we do, it's always something odd. But, that people connect to that stuff like crazy. It still blows my mind, these older songs, but they're classics for a reason, I know I do. And now I see young people, teenagers even, singing along with songs from our childhood. And I think that's absolutely wonderful.
It's like less words. Sometimes it was less words. Sometimes more words because you get repetitive nowadays, but at the same time, less words, like these little, I call it that, like there was something about the simple country wit. She got the gold mine, I got the shaft. So like,
yes,
more. Like those. And then then you can dress it up and detail it all through the verses. Like, damn, they just dropped these. These
it's
little.
Perfect. Like, that's what people
simplify
connect
the world.
To. It's so simple.
What I mean?
Yeah. How do you both, when you write music, how do you stay connected with a song that you wrote 3 years ago, 2 years ago? Because obviously there was that connection at that moment when you wrote it, but you evolve over time. And I've always said a good
talk
song
about the one we don't.
With you. What's that?
Let's talk about the one we don't. You ever record something you're like, what the fuck was that thing? And say that out loud.
But no, like how do you stay connected with like, because I always say like, a good song evolves with you, right? I mean, it may have that meaning 3 years ago, but as you evolve in have different situations, it takes on a different meaning. Do you ever find that happening with your music?
Totally.
I didn't want to step over you, but yeah, I mean, mine all are written about my life, so I'm not going to lose that connection or things that have happened. So they all take me to that place every time. But yeah, there are songs I've written that I wrote about someone else or something else that happened, but then something else will happen. And I'm like, dang, I got a song for that, So I don't know. I don't ever feel disconnected from my songs. I haven't had that experience yet.
You hadn't written a love song either.
Exactly. That's probably why.
You described your music, Jen, as swamp rock, which I think is a really good way to define it. And I keep thinking now, ever since you said that at the beginning of the conversation, I'm thinking of that song, Polk Salad Annie.
Tony Joe White.
Yeah, Billy Joe White. And
Tony Joe White.
Tony Joe White. Yeah, that's right. And man, when I think of that song, and I think of that, his distinct voice and the tone of that song, it was originally, I think, an Elvis song, wasn't it?
And he wrote it.
He wrote it? Okay.
Yes, he wrote that one, and everybody calls it. Elvis did a few of his songs for Old Time's Sake. Probably, I'm pretty sure he did "Rainy Night in Georgia." That was his. The songs of his were more famous. His songs were more famous, kind of first from others, and then he got like kind of more, I guess, cred along the way. He passed a couple of years ago. He lived near me when I lived in Tennessee. I used to see him at the little gas station there, and he'd come by on a rehearsal one day. A friend of mine, a mutual friend up there, and I'll never forget, he said, "Man, you got a cool ass band." He talks just like
yeah, his voice was so unique. It was like so like man, you heard his voice and you were like, bam, like so powerful.
I know, man. It was awesome.
Yeah. Swamp rock, has all those elements of country and blues and soul and, all those things that kind of go.
Creedence kind of
yeah.
I'm not going to say they were definitely influenced, especially not, they kind of got into the, something, kind of groove, I guess, and stuff, so kind of influence to them. You'll hear a lot of Tony Joe and Creedence, they toured together. He opened for them early on, so it's kind of like right in the same lane of what, it's the texture blend,
There's an old concert poster I just saw like two weeks ago. It was Zeppelin, Janis Joplin, Tony Joe White, Creedence, and I think it was Grand Funk on the same bill.
That's not really, yeah.
Yeah, that was. Wow. I mean, that's an incredible bill when you think about who's on that thing. Just I think it was 69 or 70 back in I want to say Monterey, California.
Monterey Pop Festival.
I think I don't know if it was the Pop Festival or some other festival. I think it was with Dan the Green, maybe.
All right, I got you.
Yeah.
No, Otis did that one. Did that Monterey popped out. It probably been like 67, 68.
Yeah, that was with Hendrix too, I think, as well. As far as though, when you guys think of the state of music right now, and you guys being a part of it, and going through the recording process, the touring process, all that stuff, it's a different ball game now than it was years ago. How do you maintain, because you're getting pulled in different directions, you got a tour to make money, how do you maintain that, that flow? Like you said, Jen, you write when you feel something. When you're getting pulled in different directions, does that make it more difficult to do that?
When it's not an option, like, for one, and when you wouldn't allow it to be an option for two. Yeah, and then so on and so forth from there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of difficult to answer for me. I mean, I feel like I don't ever sleep, and I run in 20 billion different directions. But nothing ever stops me from writing. When something hits me, it just happens, And I think when music's in your soul and you couldn't escape it if you wanted to, you don't really have much of a choice. But it's hard managing everything when you think about social media. For example, I mean, I'm up 2, 3, 4 in the morning, responding to everybody, liking posts. Between Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, I mean, it's like, I feel like I'm losing my mind, but I really put a lot of effort into that stuff, and it's starting to really work for us. But there's a lot that goes into this business now. It's not just going and playing gigs and showing up for radio interviews or recording music. With social media, it's a whole other animal, and you're not making any money at that. I mean, none of that stuff really pays at this level of band, so it's just a lot of dedication. And I don't know. I think you just do it somehow. You make time for those things. Or if you're like me, you just get mad and write a song. It just comes out of you.
It's got to be, when you want to become a musician, become an artist, and start writing music and performing, the last thing you guys are probably thinking is, man, I got to sit on the computer and I got to connect with fans too as well. I mean, that's not really part.
School for that, man.
What's that?
I said I'd have stayed in school for that.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you're doing it, it's like this unexpected. I don't want to use the word burden because I don't think it's a burden, but it's like an unexpected part of the business that you have to really pay attention to. And people, members of bands, artists, they're not social media gurus. So it's like you want to just write your music and perform your music. And you spend a lot of time, I call it chasing, right? You're chasing fans because that's how you grow your fan base now is you connect with people on the internet, you develop relationships with people, and that all factors into the music when the music comes out. But that's got to be, you got to do that every day. That's got to be something that, at some point, I don't know how honest you guys want to be, or you're kind of like, man, this is not what I signed up for. I just want to play music. You know what I mean?
It's exhausting. There was a point at Christmas because I've hired people to do that before or tried to. And then I realized that wasn't going to work, that I genuinely had to connect with people and share my stories in my life or they weren't going to want to listen, and because at the end of the day, someone out there is going to like your music. There's so many people on the planet now. You can build a fan base, but it's not really the music. They have to fall in love with you at the end of the day for the super fan that you're looking for, right? It takes so much time and effort. I can't tell you how many times a day I'm on social media responding. I work 2 jobs and I'm a mom. And so at night, I didn't go to bed till 4:30 this morning because I was putting together a video for social media and responding to people across the country that were still awake, or in Australia and the UK. And it's just constant response to fans, and it's like, and they're all like, thank you so much. I can't believe you responded to my message. But I know that by doing that stuff, I'm building this long-term connection to people. But there was a time at Christmas when I just said bye after a week. I was like, I spend 24 hours a day all year long, giving everything I have to everybody. I got to take a break for a moment. Yeah. And I looked at our numbers, because I keep track of insights on all of our social media and music, and they went down for that week. It was like everybody just stopped paying attention. And so this week I'm back at it, and I'm like nonstop. But it's crazy that if you don't keep that engagement going now, it doesn't stay like that. It doesn't just keep building, So at this level, once you reach a certain spot, you think, oh, well, you'll just have a fan base. But someone's still running their socials. Someone's still helping them connect because you have to.
Like regardless of the algorithms, like I guess one thing would be to kind of leave them with some kind of intimate video or something new, some kind of content, for like a. I'm not saying it's even going to slow down like the engagement because it's only one thing to engage with, but yeah, like you could also allows it to manifest and like maybe even savor the flavor of that, particular, could be, I'm saying that could be a good thing. Like, and then just the amount of the algorithms, the stats, that you're talking about would be,
yeah.
It would just be for less information. It doesn't mean that some of the information is any less savored. I guess I'm just thinking out loud. Like,
No, I know what you're saying though. And it's crazy from that week that I kind of stepped back. I didn't post for 6 days, which is a long time because I'm always on our stories and, I have a band. I post about all of them, I keep people engaged. But when I came back to social media after 6 days, our engagement shot through the roof. It was like all of a sudden people had missed you for a moment. And then like,
same with
like all of a sudden I posted something, got like 1,100 likes and like, next one was 9 something. And I mean, I was like, what just happened? And not boosting posts either, because as we've got, I don't know, some 57,000 followers on Instagram and Facebook, but like they don't show people your stuff. You can post something, but if you don't boost it, no one sees it.
Wow. Yeah. It just, I've met a lot of the new bands and talk with a lot of them. And, I can just tell they want to play music. They want to tour. They want to write music. And, they got to constantly feed that beast, which is social media. And, it's almost as important as the music you're releasing. You can have a great song, but if you're not doing anything with it, no one's going to hear it. So you got to go out and chase it. And chase down people to listen to this song. Obviously, I still think radio has some influence on what happens. I think people discard radio, and they shouldn't, because there's bands that have been pushed into Sirius satellite radio on their stations and have blown up on those stations. And then the streams start coming and following those, right. Like when you're in the car and you hear a band song, if you like them, you're going to go on their social media when you had time and check them out. So it's almost like radio still kind of leads it in a way.
You almost country in particular.
Yeah. You just need someone pushing your music on satellite radio, college radio, bigger markets. And then the streams start following that. I almost believe that to be true more than chasing a stream. It
is very true. The money it takes for radio, because I spend it a lot. It's for radio push is insane, even in just small markets, and a lot of bands don't have that, unfortunately. But you're right; you can put out all the music you want, but if you don't put some effort behind that, and that includes money and a lot of time, people don't see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, really,
it'd be the same as like a song would exist either way, but then there's your song,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, so to play both, I guess there was time when I would play covers like that. I tend to do like 2-hour show now. Like I can play like 5 covers maybe through, but there was a time where you played covers to be able to boost your, throw some of your stuff in. So like, in a way, I guess, not that either's or the radio to social media or whatever it's kind of, a way of participating into infrastructures.
Yeah. I mean, I talked a lot about that too as well. With the infrastructure within a band, the infrastructure that an artist has. I mean, it's so important because you've got to have one person doing the social media. You've got to have one person, handling management requests or PR requests or whatever it is, because one person can't do it all. And it can be tough, and it's almost like the drummer becomes this person and on the back end, and the bass player is this person on the back end, and it can really be difficult to manage that, especially a new band you're trying to get noticed. I always talk too about radio is the currency, right? You want the currency with radio, and then the payoff is the streams. And of course you want to be touring. I mean, Jen, the last time you and I spoke, April, I think it was maybe 2020. You had mentioned that you were playing everywhere. You were driving everywhere to do a gig, to get, even if you captured 5 fans at that show, it was something that was important to you guys as a band to do that, to go and play in front of whoever you could play with. Is that still your attitude towards things, that you're still your mantra of just play anywhere in front of anyone?
Well, we had been across the country, I think 4 times at that point. And yeah, we played for free our first year. I front my band, but I also founded my band. So I pay my players no matter where we play. If we play for free, which we have, I pay them anyway. They're great people. My band's freaking amazing. And they will walk through hell with me. And I'm very grateful for that. But yeah, like we don't do it so much like that anymore now that we are getting booked for big gigs. But we show up. I mean, we're going to North Dakota Fest. I mean, I think it pays $500, and that doesn't even pay 2 of my players. So we're going to go anyway. It's 28 hours one way. And, we show up. Now though, we haven't ever really played bars, because I'm old. And I set my sights higher, and I was like, you know what? No, we're going to come out playing festivals, even if I have to play for free. And that's what we did. But yeah, we still show up at everything. I go to every music conference I can go to. I showcase everywhere I can go to. I'll pay to play. If I think people big enough are going to be there, I'm going to pay to play. Like if you'll let me come show you what we do, that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, I still have that mentality. It's just on a bigger scale now. We only do now big fairs, big festivals. And the fan base that we're playing for is typically bigger. Opening slots are huge for us. So any major I can open for, we're going to show up. I don't care if we're getting paid or not. I'm going to work my day job hard and take care of my band. Like that's kind of my philosophy, because I know we're getting there. It's, it's working for us. So I see a lot of musicians worry about the gig money every week. And I get that. If you're a full-time musician, that's how you make money. That's hard. But that's just not my philosophy. I'm like, no, we're going to show up and play no matter what, I'm going to find a way. So yeah, I guess it is. It's just on a bigger scale now.
Mm-hmm. Because I know you guys are playing. I saw Wisconsin. I saw Colorado. Mm-hmm. You guys are pretty much tracking everywhere to open doors for yourselves or whatever.
And and we are getting paid a good bit to play most of the time. Way more than I ever expected. But the way I showcased us. It cost me $11,000 in showcases to get us there. So there's a lot behind the scenes that we do, and I probably shouldn't tell all this stuff, but I put a lot of effort into getting us in front of bigger people. But yeah, we were Colorado, Wyoming, North Dakota, Wisconsin. I mean, I was in Chicago, and Tennessee, all the way down to Florida. We were just in Texas. I was in 10 states in 5 days. A few weeks ago. So
where are you from?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I do. I mean, we've only been a band 3.5 years, and this is our second album I'm putting out. But just to give you an idea, I spent $97,000 this summer on tour. That's how much it cost me to get my band around the country. And that's after we got paid for gigs. But I was so determined to do it because we signed those contracts, in 2019 before COVID. And when it all rescheduled, they were not in a line anymore. So one day I'd be here and the next day I'd be in Kansas. Then I'd be in, North Dakota, then Texas, then Colorado. So I'm spending all this money getting my band there, but I promised people I would. So I worked my job so hard, I about killed myself. But now everybody's booking us back and paying us double. So it worked out. It just was figuring it all out. So I don't know. I just keep pushing it one way or the other. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm doing some days. I just am doing it. I don't know. It probably doesn't make sense. And that's probably very honest, but it's the truth.
When you talk about the amount of money that you spent, and we talked about streams and, putting money into social media, do you feel that is, if you're going to spend your money, that is the way to do it, is to get on a tour or go play places and spend your money building a fan base when people see you live, instead of trying to, trace or track down followers on social media? Do you think that is more impactful for you as a band?
I think that one without the other is pretty futile. I think you have to do both. I just do. I've done one, I tried one, and then I've tried just the other. And either way, they do okay. But when you do them together, that's where it comes in. So I spend a lot of money on social media. I spend a lot of money putting us on the road, because when people see us live, They don't forget it. And you know that. People go see a show. We talked about this before. They don't go to listen to a show. I can pop somebody's CD in all day long, but I want to see a show. So when I remember a show, I saw a band called Rain Wolf not long ago. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yeah.
Freaking amazing. I'm going to tell you, they opened for bigger band. Yes. They're great. Don't get me wrong. Love them. I went to see them. Rain Wolf blew my mind. And our show is very interactive. I mean, we put on a dang show, okay? And this band, I will never forget. That's the kind of show I want to put on, because I'm telling you, that's what builds your fan base. People message me all the time. They're like, best band I've ever seen, best band I've ever seen. And I'm like, us? Yeah, but that's because I gave them everything I had on stage. Fiddle players on the ground, guitars jumping around. We're just like crazy people. I don't care if you like it or not, but you won't forget it. And I find that that's the way you build a fan base. People remember you when you really put on a show. So we put a lot of effort into that and social media. It's exhausting, like I said. So
yeah, when I think of like bands that I've seen over the last couple of years, the Struts comes to mind. They're absolutely fantastic live. I mean, they put on that show, that's just electrifying. They're the Luke Spiller, the lead singer, is just. It's just
we did a cruise together, and then opened for them and the Tribendo in Paris, La Tribendo in Paris. Yeah, they're all good guys. Great show.
You guys played France with them?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, that's amazing.
What's it like for you, Travis? I mean, obviously Bishop Gunn. We did the Swan Song album, Gypsy Cadillac, after you guys disbanded, and now you're kind of starting over.
The album, that was done to that was done to go further, but
yeah,
that's hence the delay, like on the release. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, with your new music, because you've sent me a couple demos, and when you're writing now with yourself and you're creating, and you have that sense of a beginning now, right? This is like a new beginning for you. What are the different elements and ways that you're maybe see things differently now that you're on your own versus being in Bishop?
Not a lot on the writing process, besides because we never really wrote as a band, but would more or less say the architecture, the framing, and then the we would the siding, the trim. Let's say, just speaking of building something, the paint, the roof, you know what I mean? It was just different ingredients, but the foundation, the frame and all. I would either write. I'd write with. There was about two people I would write with a lot or often when I was living in Tennessee. It's probably a co-write on probably two or three co-writes at least on each album, and then the EP being all prior writing. There's a lot of prior writing to all that, some of the songs in Gypsy Cadillac and Natchez, I'd written 17, 18, 20 years old, and then I like to say that the difference between sometimes a country song and a rock song is your fuzz pedal. and the drummer's intensity,
Right.
So I would write the Natch, a lot of the stuff on the Natchez album, and then stuff that was prior, I would kind of reinvent along in the kind of gear I was writing in at that time. So which was, I would write on acoustic guitar, it's on the couch, or something, and a lot more would be the groove of, the beat and everything would be in there. And I'm kind of more negative space, just chalking on an acoustic, down. And most of it's going on in my head, kind of, which leads the phrasing and the intensity of all that. And then go to the demo room, the spare room in the house, and then record it to a metronome, and then maybe kind of coach the drummer along. This is the intensity because you're doing it over an acoustic guitar, but I'm going to, or first I do it like, say, the acoustic and then sing it, kind of with a little bit with an intensity that's more than the acoustic, kind of leads the drummer to the momentum, and that's always going to get more as I go stacking bass in here, guitar, and then all of a sudden, then I go sing it back to a full band, and then all of a sudden we have a template for rehearsal or something, and it's like show up to rehearsal. It's like, yeah, this one's one I wrote the other day, and we've been stacking these tracks in here to just kind of paint the picture, and then let's get on here and then on the stage in our little rehearsal space and bring it to life, kind of like that with all our ingredients, the notes, and then there would always be parts added, and like maybe we go, then it goes from there. But so the writing process hasn't changed a lot. It just changed. The people playing around you changes the portrayal of the song, and then that's the hope, but having picked, the type of people that you're playing with intentionally, and kind of like, that's your ingredients you picked, and I'd hope that that's where you want the song to go, or you would be okay with, however that sounds or looks,
You always got a guitar with you, like you do now, and you're always playing. Is that by design? Is that you just strum the guitar whenever you're?
Hobbies, man. I don't have hobbies, man. I usually have like 5 guitars and 2 amps stuffed in my SUV. You there?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
You probably hear my 3-year-old pitter pattern. Sorry.
I think are you locked up, Travis?
Did we lose him?
A low battery just
okay. There you go.
Cut me off, but I usually have so many, at least acoustic. It's full on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me just now?
Yeah. So you're saying you left off. You got about 5 guitars with you at all times.
At all times, man. Just like, and that's way too many. I usually only play on 1 or 2. An electric or an acoustic, just wherever I'm at, just to kind of. I'm always filing and writing music and writing words. And when I want a certain type of song, I'll kind of go and do my index and kind of this fits there. That's kind of how it's been for several years. And then there's the spontaneous writing. You didn't even mean to fucking write a song. You were just kind of that's probably the third F bomb I've dropped. And anyway, didn't even mean to write a song. And then sometimes that's but you were just kind of jamming, having fun, and then started writing stuff down. There is no template, just enthusiasm, and work ethic, I guess.
Yeah.
When you're writing, for both of you guys, when you're writing, you mentioned you got to feel it, you got to be, have that experience to write about. Do you ever need time do you ever sit down and write a song that you think you should write and you're not ready to write that song yet?
No, you'll have to answer that one. I have not done that.
Let me see. Yeah, and no. Like, I just can't. I want to say yeah, because like it's like, why the hell has that night? And then I probably tried to write it for as best as I could, and maybe but I've definitely written songs kind of about where I wanted to be, or where maybe a small reflection in your perception, that's how it related to you, like as looking at that situation, which isn't totally wrong. It's just not merited yet, like Song Wheels I'd written. It's on the Natchez album, and it's about, the traveling, touring and stuff, you know. And when I wrote that shit, you know, I mean, I was traveling, but, you know, it wasn't like it ended up like, you know, it's like, well, oh, this is what I was writing that song about, you know. You know, the few that, you know, just going back and forth here and a long ride in the car here and there, you know, that wasn't traveling.
As far as, you know, having a song to write, you know, when you do begin that process, are you the type of writer that doesn't stop until you write that song, or do you stop and put it down for a bit and maybe, you know, come back to it?
Thus far, I pretty much write that song right then. I haven't written, I can't think of anything that I started and put down and came back to. Like, it just poured out of me. Every single song has been that way. And they're all different. I mean, if you probably listen to some of our music, I mean, there'll be a ballad and then there'll be a flat out rock song. And then, you know, this new record has bluegrass on it. And I don't know. I just write. And yeah, no, I haven't put a song down and came back to it. I think the reason is if I've started writing something and I didn't finish it right then, in my mind, it sucked. So I was like, yeah, that wasn't a good idea. And then I never go back to it.
Really?
Yep. And I've never, every song that I've finished, which usually happen in 3 to 5 minutes, has been recorded or is being recorded. So, you know, they end up being what I thought were good songs, or what my producer thought were good songs anyway, or people seem to dig it, but I'm sure
can you hear me?
Huh?
Am I back?
There you are.
Yeah, you're there.
Yeah. Do you ever pick up songs that you're kind of like almost chapters that, you know, because some maybe you're not there yet for that song, like he was initially asking. Like, you know, and then pick it up, like, and then, you know, and it's almost like a staged, like stages, like written in kind of chapters. Like you might finish you might pick one. If you're not doing that, then don't count it off. Don't write it off. And
oh no,
because it's like maturing, like you're maturing your
marinating.
The cool thing with like maturity, and then the simplicity like that you were thinking from prior, mixed with the wisdom that's kind of shit, you know, written over like years and years. Because I mean, if you wrote a verse and you started on it, then you can always pull that up. Or maybe you just wrote a verse that pertains to a different song, you know, like, and you did, and that's the favorite part you had of that song that you kind of skipped out on. But you're like, oh shit, I've done that 1,000 times. Because you're writing conceptually. Like I'll find, like sometimes when it comes to make an album, like it's just they're already in order, like kind of like it's like close, because that's you were in like. And even for over years, but it's still like just maybe it swoops over to a category that you nailed the first time, principally, or whatever, you know, and you just and that mindset was right, but it's yeah.
Well, I don't think I ever stopped writing a song, or I never started a song that didn't.
No, I get it.
There's one I can think of that I started humming in my car and I didn't finish. That was one, but everything else that I've written, and I have not been a songwriter for long, so. I'll tell you that, like, I didn't, and I'm old. I'm not gonna say how old I am, but I started late in life writing. And so I didn't even know I could really write. You know, I was classically trained to sing opera. I wanted to be on Broadway. I didn't want, you know, I'm a mezzo soprano. I'd never imagined I'd be singing country or rock and roll. And so, this developed later in life for me. And now, you know, like I said, Diamonds and Whiskey is only 3.5, 4 years old. So it's just kind of a new thing, and I don't really know what I'm doing. And instead of trying to put like a process to it, I think I don't know, just throwing it out there. I mean, not really, but I am. Like, I feel like everything I've written, again, I just write it and finish it.
You know what they call that, right?
Okay. What?
You know what they call that, right? They call that art.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Yeah. Well, then that's what I do. I do art. Yes.
I'll say music's like the musical frequencies sometimes are like a good loop, a good foreplay for the message.
Mm-hmm.
To the conception, like you can sometimes less is more, and then somebody's brain will paint the rest.
Right. Well, like I said, every song that I have, all of Heartbreak Queen, they're all true stories. They're all just from moments in my life, my past. Blonde Ambition is more present in what's going on, and then about my family. My dad passed this year, and I'd already written a song about him. It's called Warrior, and it's straight up rock and roll. And then songs about my uncle, my granddad, my grandmother. So this one's a very like family record, but all about being a badass. So I feel like
to hear that one.
It's pretty. I think you'll dig it.
My dad passed last year, and I'd written a song. It's on Gypsy Cadillacs called "On My Way," about kind of me and him, and we worked together for a long time, for 9 years. Anyway, and but it was prior to his death, less than a year. But it was kind of about basically like having that song for him before he left, before he passed, just not, just like as an eventual life kind of thing. But I got to play it for him in some festivals, before it's like less than a year before it's released. So he had took that. What's the name of the song?
I'm sorry about your loss.
You too. What's the name of the song you said?
Warrior.
All right.
Yeah. My dad only had one arm, and he was a badass. He was amazing. And but I wrote it before he died, and he got to hear it before he died, and he loved it. So I'm really glad he did. Yeah.
Loss is, I think of the story that Wolfgang Van Halen tells about the song he wrote for his father, Eddie, before he passed. And, it kind of helps you get through those moments when you're sad. I mean, the sadness is darkness, and you're trying to look for a way out, and, being able to write a song like that or connecting with a song like that is very powerful.
Right. That's so true. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm eating. I haven't gotten to eat today, so I had to grab a bite.
Hey, yeah, by the way, what is, I can see y'all, but is this like, because I didn't really dress up.
No, this will be audio only, so don't worry about it, Travis. I'll take care of you.
I'm in yoga pants.
There's enough swag in this room laying around me. I can probably.
Yeah. No, so this will be audio only. But I do like the Soundgarden shirt, so kudos to you on that.
Nice.
As far as as you guys move forward, Diamonds Whiskey has the new album out. Travis, you're still like creating what you're going to release and have that out this year, hopefully. How do you guys feel about what the direction you guys are in right now?
Well, I felt pretty good until the way you just described it. I'm just joking. Man, I don't know. Like I said, I don't have hobbies. I don't know. Sit still very well. We're put here to work. Even the ants know that, and it's just like, and I've known my lane for a long time. So,
I mean, I
not
feel
swing a hammer, to not fit still, to not go back to the shop, basically.
Yeah, we talked about that in our last conversation about your job before you became a musician.
I was a musician the whole time. It was just, I'd play. That was a night.
Well, you were a musician, but then you became a working musician. You didn't need to do that job anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes that would, when it was both, sometimes that would get you out. Sometimes that would create some rifts in the shop. It's like, your working buddies are out there. When this is like 17, 18, 19, playing in these bars and stuff. we're working like 10, 12-hour days. And you see your boss there, he's all happy, but hung over the next morning. So, so who the hell you think you are? So imagine the football field, that's the shop, and being I was pretty extra, so it was interesting.
But as far as where you guys are both headed, what excites you about what's coming?
I'm excited that we're going to be in a bus this year. It's like every little milestone that we get to is makes me feel like we're doing something right. Yeah, I'm excited to play bigger gigs, opening for Travis Tritt, and a lot of big names, like I said. So I don't know. I'm excited to release this music and see how it does, because I feel like the production on this new record is insane. The first record was really raw. I mean, you listen to Heartbreak Queen. That was just me and my two bandmates at the time. And this record is extremely, I don't want to say overproduced, but it's incredible. It's a lot going into it. So I'm excited to see the difference and how that's going to do versus what's going on now. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just excited for things to keep moving forward. I just feel like every year I just try to push us upward and onward.
Amen.
What about you, Travis? I know you've got some good stuff that you've written. You've got some, things that you're going to be working on. What excites you about that stuff? I mean, obviously, you're the man now. I mean, you're the name that's in, Travis McCready. You're no longer in Bishop Gunn. So what's the difference and what's the excitement for you on that?
Well, it's the same because I like having people play, and I have some guys playing with me, and that's what I love. I prefer to. That hits a important spot, in making me. I guess making me need to be, as good as you can. It's just like any. Just the camaraderie, the leadership aspect, all that pushes you and turns some switches, that otherwise wouldn't if it was just. It's even like if I have there's just my name, and then there's Travis McCready The Tramp, but it's, I don't know, it still has to kind of always be the same family atmosphere. It's just yeah.
Is that important for both of you to have that comfort of having that family atmosphere? Because you guys do spend a lot of time with each other. You're recording music, you're playing music with each other, you're playing in different states on tour. There has to be that element of comfort, and if you have that family atmosphere, it probably makes your creative process a lot easier too. When you're not stressed out.
The betrayal.
Yeah,
definitely the betrayal. Because you're you don't want to be in a shit marriage and you're going to church every Sunday. You know what I mean? Just like
being in a band is a marriage.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like everything's that would be. And it doesn't even have to be a riff there, but if it's not genuine, is what I'm saying. So that comparison goes a couple ways. To where, like, you just, when the only time you and this guy have a moment's when you walk over and kind of hit a lick together and look at each other and look, you know what I mean? Like you see the just kind of, not over rehearsed, but just the, they don't hang out.
Right.
And that's all right if that's your thing. But I don't know. I like the again the team kind of like almost all for one for all kind of. It's just a little more purpose when it's there's some personal agency involved,
Yep, I completely agree.
Is that does that come Do you know that? Do you feel that when you first start playing with other musicians, or does that take time?
Well, it takes time to merit a certain feeling, but then there's an initial feeling that I guess
that first chemistry.
Even when you know somebody you like play with, it's still like, it's relationship wise, man. I mean, like, especially for like a songwriter it's like, it's like calling in people in the operating room on your baby, like, and you want it, but you want it to be, you want to take, and the thing is, you want to take care of their same whatever, as just solid, trustworthy person, So it's a lot of elements to that, man. For me, especially just I grew up with lots of brothers and sisters and just kind of big family stuff, and it just it's best.
They become your family for sure on the road, and you want to get along with them. Not just get along with them, but feel close to them.
There's also that element too. You hear of stories of bands from rock and roll lore of not getting along and needing that tension to create. I guess there's two trains of thought on that. Is you want to embrace that, or two, you don't want to embrace it.
Shop very long.
What's that?
They hadn't worked in a shop very long.
Yeah.
You see those guys 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for months at a time sometimes. And,
Well, I just think of that the Beatles documentary that's out now, and that tension that existed between all them, and, there's that argument that says, without that tension, they would never have been who they were, and I guess, in some ways that people are right, but the other ways is, would they have been able to do that without that tension? It's an interesting question.
Right. I think as musicians, we're passionate in general and emotional creatures. Typically, I'm the least emotional person in my band, and they would tell you that. But Brandon, my guitarist, who I consider, my backbone, basically, we're like an old married couple. And I tell everyone in my band this: there are going to be days when we don't like each other. You can't spend that much time with somebody and not at some point get annoyed with something that they do. It's just virtually impossible. But being grown up enough to understand that is the important thing. But playing with people that you genuinely love at their core. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can look past a lot if you love that person and their heart and what they stand for. And I think at the end of the day, that's what it is with my band. Like, there's 6 of us. I love every single one of them, the person that they are, because they're amazing people. Now, they may have quirky things, or we may get at each other sometimes, because that's going to happen. But at the end of the day, we love each other. There's nobody else I want to play with, and I think that's how it works for us. And Brandon and I, some days we want to murder each other, and then 2 hours later, we're back to, what are you doing tomorrow? You coming over? It's just like one of those things. And he's been with me forever. It's a marriage. That's the way I see all of my relationships. My fiddle player, Emily, she's a girl, and most girls don't get along in bands, but we're polar opposites.
Peace is a myth, man. It's not human nature. Now, what is possible is healthy discourse in order, which is a cycle of maintenance that, you'll conflict, whether you create it or the other. That'll happen at a family reunion. This is like if you stay there long enough,
right?
This is your home, and this is your home base. You know what I mean? This is the like there's this human impulse, and that's one of them. And it's just like it's subconscious. Like that's why it's best to just stay busy and keep the conflicts
right,
and keep the conflicts
It minimalizes that when you sing just
productive and to get and on the same side, you know, like that placeholder can be, you know, managed a little better, you know, than some people tend to do, and that's literally relationships, I guess, one-on-one.
Is it important for you both to know where the middle ground is with the musicians that you're playing with? Like, you know how far off you both can get, but you know where to find that middle ground. Is that important? That compromise, you know?
I mean, I haven't really had to. I don't know. I'm telling you guys way too much, but I call it managing personalities as a band leader. So like after I figured out what each of my bandmates likes and what they want out of this experience, and if I can help facilitate that, that's my way of, first of all, making sure they're happy and healthy in the band, and then helping them reach their goal, whatever that may be in the band. And I try to look at it much deeper probably than a lot of lead singers or leaders in bands do, but I spend a lot of time putting their happiness before my own, so that our relationship can be fostered and be stronger over time. And I think that's really, I don't know, helping my band be close knit and tight, but we haven't had any confrontation really, or I call it emotional maturity. I just think that my band's freaking solid. You know, they're just like very low key, even kill, but passionate about music. Yeah.
Travis, for you, you know, with the music that you write, you know, it's very soulful. It's got elements of country, rock, and, you know, blues and R&B and rap, you know, sometimes with the way you're delivering lyrics. You know, what, you know, when you mentioned this a little bit before about how when you're writing, you're playing on that acoustic guitar, how that kind of stuff kind of is led by how you're writing. But do you ever hear it first before you're playing it? Do you ever is it something that totally. Is it something that you're hearing that you need to hear and totally, then you're playing it?
Yeah. But the way you would hear it would still be a vision of, you know, of a texture you'd already heard in a way. So just start at the acoustic guitar or just hum, you know, and sing a cappella. But yeah. I mean, it's several channels of Pro Tools going on in my head at all times, for sure.
It's interesting. Yeah. When you're writing though, and you have that, and you're going on that path to try to capture what you hear. Is it a constant just creation that you're chasing after what you're hearing?
What it was, now, like, I mean, not that I don't continue to grow and find other aspects and like other of that just go into like my formula of writing or anything. It's just kind of an open book, but my template, you know, it becomes automatic. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not that everybody will like all your songs, but it's like, it gets where you know you're not going to write a bad song. Or you wouldn't. You know, it's just it wouldn't be. It could be a shit song and be crafty as hell, you know. I guess, but I mean, it's just somebody's not their cup of tea or whatever. But I mean, you're not. You kind of know, like you get in your style and your own groove and your after you do it for so long, you know, and it's just, I guess you become like professional at your craft or something, you know, like at least in the structure of it. you know, and the knowledge, and it just comes down to relevance, and I guess where you can stay into, you know,
right,
being understood, you know. It's poetry, you know, to me.
As far as writing, you know, and capturing, you know, what you're hearing and in what you're creating, you know, what do you do if you're struggling with a piece of it? You know, is it just completely tear it up and start something else, or is it just a matter of just working through that challenge?
You like I'm saying, like usually, it would be like, that's not the song I'm wanting right now, and I'm repeating myself or something like that. That would throw a stick in my spokes, rather than it just not being good, or is what I'm trying to say. Like, to where you're like, okay, I feel like I'm repeating myself, and I don't need that's not really going anywhere. There's really no. I've told this story too many times, and you have to tell the same story over and over. And there's only so many things to at least there's aspects of it that are the same. So there's a pattern to that too as well. So it's more like the subject matter, the texture of the song. Do I need another slow song? But the lyrics, you know, if it was profound enough to you, or you thought could be to someone else, then hopefully you'll write it down or not forget it, you know, and then you can throw that into, as I was saying to her earlier, you could throw that into another song, like in kind of like a, you know, just a song that happened over years, you know.
Interesting, yeah.
I've taken whole, like, out of completely other songs, I've taken whole verses and ditched the rest of the song, but it's still over there in a scrap, you know, and there's some verses in it that, because you're gonna, so rather than repeat yourself, like I'm saying, like you might have said it in a different way in another song that fits it better now, and it doesn't, and it could, because language is an agreement of what a sound represents. Education, language of intellects, synonymous words when, you know, said certain way, take a shortcut to the pertaining category, basically. So you can, so it's basically, so having the options and you know, like this mental thesaurus of your own stuff, it's kind of, yeah.
I think what's really good too about the new wave of rock music, the new wave of music that is out, is I don't ever get that someone is trying to write a hit like years ago. Like you, right. Like you knew, like when someone was trying to write that song to get on radio. Now I think everybody comes from a very organic, authentic place in their songwriting, where no one's chasing that top 40 hit, because, you know, what is top 40 these days? What is popular these days, right? I mean, it's so fragmented with how people listen to music that I think music now is much more authentic than, you know, when I was growing up in the 80s and you had, you know, Headbangers Ball on MTV and you had everybody trying to tease their hair, you know, high up and do this and do that, and trying to get on the radio, where I think now it's coming from more of a natural place. You know, right. Do you guys feel that too?
I do. I agree with that. I mean,
definitely the ball is in like the court of the playing field, you know, a little more.
Right.
Well, on that note, we will end here. I do appreciate you both coming on and doing this. It was a great conversation. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But you know, thank you again.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Travis, it was really nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
I very much enjoyed you. Like, I hope I'm going to go find you and follow you. And you're amazing.
Thank you. I love the insight from both of you guys.
Well, everybody, that is Jen from Diamonds and Whiskey and Travis McCready, formerly of Bishop Gunn. Look for music from both of them in 2022. And thanks again for tuning in. This is Jay Scott. This is The Hook Rocks. we will chat again soon. Thanks.
She took what was mine all along a summer day. Fire in her eyes says she stole my life away. Forever must have only meant till you found something new. 'Cause I gave you my everything and now she gets all of you. So walk hard on down that line. 'Cause my heart's still doing time. It's no fault of yours, but you'll have to dearly pay. Thought I had it all, but the lies got in the way. You pick up the pieces, try to find them while you can. There ain't no way in hell that I could ever trust a man. So walk hard on down that line. 'Cause my heart's still doing time. So walk hard on down that line. 'Cause my heart's still doing time.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
300 Favorite Albums with James Campion.
I don't think there's an album I know better front to back. I learned how to play guitar to a lot of these songs.
If I could pick one record to hand someone and say this is what it feels like to be a woman, it would be this record.
You know, the engineer that was recording the album for us was a novice engineer. He was really the janitor.
The first half of these sessions for the album were totally improvisatory in the sense that they went into the studio and just dealt with whatever happened.
There was space that was left for these listeners to kind of discover it for themselves. That they would say, yeah, my parents listened to it, but I had to build my own relationship to it.
Happiness, good living, peace, love, rock and roll. I just feel like this album is such a wonderful translation of that concept.
People understood they were in a world historical moment, and it felt like it was going to last forever. In fact, the infinite spaces that they explored in The Giant Now is part of what made that explosion so huge.